Welcome to the English Time Daily channel. I'm Bestie, and today's episode is all about a topic that's very useful in everyday life: how to make small talk with strangers. If you're someone who gets nervous or doesn't know what to say when meeting new people, don't worry. In this episode, I'll share some simple tips and real-life examples to help you feel more confident. Now let's start with a few questions for you. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you don't know what to say to someone you just met? Maybe you were at a party, or you were sitting next to someone on a bus or in a cafe. What did you do? Did you try to start a conversation? Or were you too shy? Small talk is a great way to connect with people. It can be a little tricky at first, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And today I'll give you some simple phrases and stories to help you with that. For example, I remember when I first moved to a new city, I didn't know many people, and I felt nervous every time I had to talk to someone I didn't know. One day, I was at a cafe, and the person sitting next to me asked, "How's your day going?" At first, I didn't know how to respond, but I smiled and said, "It's going well, thanks. How about you?" And that simple question started a nice conversation. We talked about the weather, the city, and even our favorite hobbies. That's all it takes. Sometimes a simple question in small talk. It's important to start with a friendly greeting. You can say things like, "Hi, how's it going?" "Hello, how are you today?" "Nice to meet you." Once you've started, you can ask easy questions. For example, what do you do for work? Do you have any hobbies? Have you been to this place before? Remember, the goal is to make the other person feel comfortable. You don't need to talk for a long time, just a few simple questions, and answers can lead to a nice conversation. Here's another story from my experience. I was at a park one afternoon, and I saw someone walking their dog. I decided to say hello and asked, "What's your dog's name?" They smiled and told me their dog's name was Max. Then we talked about how much we both loved dogs. We shared a few funny stories about our pets, and by the end of the conversation, we were both smiling and feeling happy. It was a simple exchange, but it was a great way to break the ice now. For you as a listener, think about these questions. What would you say if you were in a situation like that? How would you start a conversation with a stranger? Practice these simple phrases and see how easy it becomes. Now let's talk a little more about how you can keep the conversation going. Once you've made that first connection when you're making small talk, it's important to listen carefully to what the other person is saying. This will help you come up with new questions and keep the conversation flowing naturally. For example, if someone tells you they enjoy reading books, you could ask, "What type of books do you like?" To readd, or "Do you have a favorite author?" Listening is just as important as speaking when it comes to small talk. The more you listen, the more you'll be able to ask questions that show you're interested in what the other person is saying. Here's a simple story from when Imade, a new friend at the gym. We started talking because we were both using the same equipment. I asked, "How long have you been coming to this gym?" He replied, "I've been coming for about 6 months now." Instead of just saying, "That's cool," I asked, "What made you start coming here?" This simple question led to a deeper conversation. And by the end of the talk, we found out we had some common interests. Another important part of small talk is body language. A smile can go a long way in making you seem friendly and open. You don't need to be overly expressive, but showing that you're interested with your facial expressions and your posture can make the conversation more comfortable. A simple smile when someone says something funny, or nodding your head when they share something important, can make the conversation feel more natural. Sometimes it's also nice to ask a question about something around you. For example, if you're at a cafe or a park, you could ask, "Have you been to this place before?" Or, "What do you think of the coffee?" Here, it's a simple way to start a conversation that doesn't feel forced. People like talking about things they know, and this gives them a chance to share their experiences. I remember once I was sitting at a coffee shop and noticed a woman reading a book. I asked her, "What book are you reading?" She smiled and started telling me about the story. It turned out that we both liked reading mystery novels, so we ended up talking for about 20 minutes. It was an unexpected conversation, but it was enjoyable. Because we both shared something in common, when you ask Questions try to ask open-ended ones. These are questions that can't be answered with just a yes or no, for example. Instead of asking, "Do you like coffee?" you can ask, "What do you like most about coffee?" or "How do you usually drink your coffee?" This encourages the other person to talk more and gives you more chances to practice listening and speaking. Here's an example of a small talk conversation at a park. "You, hi, how's your day?" Going stranger. "It's going well. Thanks, I just came for a walk in the park." "You, nice, do you come here often?" Strange. "As I try to walk here a few times a week." "You, that's great. What do you like most about this park?" Notice how the conversation flows naturally. It's simple and it doesn't take much to keep it going. The key is to show interest and ask questions that invite the other person to share more. One of the biggest fears people have when it comes to small talk is worrying about saying the wrong thing. But don't worry too much. Most people just appreciate when you make the effort to talk. If you're polite and show interest, the conversation will usually go well, and remember, it's okay if the conversation doesn't last forever. Small talk is meant to be light and casual, so don't feel pressured to keep talking for too long. A good small talk conversation can last just a few minutes, and that's perfectly fine. It's about making a connection, even if it's a short one. Now let's talk about what happens if the conversation starts to feel a little awkward. It happens to everyone. If you find yourself not knowing what to say next, try talking about something easy, like the weather, or something happening around you. For example, "It looks like it's going to rain soon." Doesn't it? Or, "I heard there's a new restaurant opening nearby. Have you heard about it?" These types of questions can help get the conversation back on track. When I was at the supermarket last week, I noticed the person in front of me was buying a lot of vegetables. I said, "Looks like you're making a big meal." She smiled and replied, "Yes, yes, I'm planning to make a vegetable stew." This simple comment turned into a longer conversation about cooking, and I learned some new recipes. It was just a little thing, but helped us connect and have a pleasant conversation. Now let's dive deeper into some more examples and tips that will help you make small talk with strangers in different situations. We've already discussed how to start a conversation, how to listen, and how to keep things going. But let's look at some more real-life situations where small talk can happen and how you can use these skills in everyday life. For example, let's say you're at a bus stop waiting for your bus. You see someone standing next to you, and you feel like it might be a good opportunity to talk. What do? You could start by saying, "Nice day today, isn't it?" This is a great way to begin because everyone can relate to the weather. It's a neutral topic that doesn't require any special knowledge, and it's something that everyone experiences. Once they respond, you can follow up with something like, "It's nice to have a break from the rain," or "It's been so hot lately. I'm glad it's cooling down." One time I was waiting at a bus stop and it was pouring rain. I turned to the person next to me and said, "I don't think I've ever seen rain like this before." She laughed and agreed. We ended up talking about how the weather had been so unpredictable that week. I also learned that she lived nearby and worked as a teacher. It was a simple conversation, but it helped me practice my English and made the wait feel shorter. Here's another example. You're at the supermarket and you're looking at the fruits and vegetables. You see someone picking out some apples and you decide to ask, "Are those apples any good?" This is a simple question that shows you're interested in their choice and could start a nice conversation. The other person might respond with, "Yes, these are my favorite apples. They're really sweet and crunchy." You can then ask, "Do you eat apples every day, or do you prefer other fruits?" This question gives them the opportunity to share more about their preferences. And you might end up talking about food in general or other fruits you like. I once had a conversation with someone at the store about oranges. She told me that she loved eating them with yogurt in the mornings. I thought that was an interesting idea, and I shared that I like to add them to my smoothies. We both learned something new and connected over something simple: fruit. These kinds of conversations are easy and they help you practice English in real-life situations. But what if you're at a party or gathering and you don't know anyone there? It can feel a little more challenging to start a conversation in these situations, but it's still possible. You might start by introducing yourself and then saying something like, "How do you know the host?" or "How long have you been coming to these events?" This is a safe question because people love to talk about themselves and how they got invited to the event. I remember attending a friend's birthday party where I didn't know many people. I walked up to a group and asked, "How do you all know Sarah?" One person said we met at work, and another said we've been friends since college. This simple question helped me get to know everyone in the group, and soon we were all talking and laughing about funny stories from work and college. It was a great way to break the ice and make new connections. Sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you need to be a little more creative to keep the conversation going. Let's say you're at the gym and you're talking to someone on the treadmill next to you. It can be awkward to start a conversation while you're both working out, but it's not impossible. You could say something like, "I always struggle with keeping a good pace on the treadmill." How do you stay motivated? This question is easy to answer and gives the other person a chance to share their fitness tips. From there, you can ask about their workout routine, what kind of exercise they enjoy, or if they have any tips for staying healthy. One time I was at the gym and I saw someone lifting weights. I wasn't sure how to start the conversation, so I just asked, "Do you have any tips for someone who's just starting with weights?" The person smiled and gave me a few pointers on how to improve my technique. We ended up talking about our favorite workouts and how we stay active, even though I was a little nervous. At first, asking a simple question like that made the conversation flow naturally. When you're making small talk with strangers, it's important to stay positive and keep the mood light. No one wants to talk about serious or negative topics, especially when you don't know the person well. So try to avoid topics like politics, religion, or anything too personal. Instead, stick to safe light topics like the weather, hobbies, food, or travel. Another great way to keep a conversation going is by sharing your own experiences. For example, if someone talks about how they went on a vacation recently, you could share a story about a trip you took. You might say, "That sounds amazing. I went to the beach last summer and it was so relaxing." Sharing your experiences can help build a connection and make the conversation feel more comfortable. I remember talking to someone at work about their recent trip to the mountains. She told me about the beautiful views and the hiking trails she went on. I shared my experience of visiting a national park, and we both started laughing about our funny travel stories. It wasn't a deep conversation, but it was a nice exchange that helped us get to know each other better. Let's also talk about the importance of giving compliments in small talk. Compliments are a great way to make someone feel good and show interest in them. For example, if you meet someone new and they're wearing a nice jacket, you can say, "I really like your jacket. Where did you get it?" Or, "That color looks great on you." Compliments can be about someone's appearance, their choice of clothing, or even something like their work. Just make sure the compliment is genuine and not too over the top. One day I met a new colleague at work and I noticed he had a really cool watch. I said, "Hey, that's a really nice watch. Where did you get it?" He smiled and told me it was a gift from his wife that led to a conversation about gifts, and we ended up talking about our favorite holiday traditions. Compliments don't have to be complicated. Just a simple, sincere remark can start a good conversation. If you're ever unsure about how to keep a conversation going, try asking follow-up questions. For example, if someone tells you they love hiking, you could ask, "What's your favorite trail?" Or, "Have you ever been on a really challenging hike?" These follow-up questions show that you're interested in what they're saying and give them a chance to talk more. Remember, small talk is not about having a deep, meaningful conversation. It's about connecting with someone and having a light, enjoyable exchange. Even if you don't become best friends with the person you're talking to, small talk can help you practice your English and build confidence. So, as you listen to this episode, think about how you would use these ideas in your own life. What kind of questions would you ask? What would you say if you were in a situation where you didn't know anyone? By practicing small talk in these different situations, you'll start to feel more comfortable and confident in your ability to make connections with others. All right, let's continue exploring how small talk can help you in even more situations and offer you more examples this time. I'll break down different scenarios to make sure you know how to feel comfortable and confident when talking to strangers in various places, whether it's work, social gatherings, or casual everyday situations. The key to making small talk is finding common ground and being approachable. And that's what we're going to focus on. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you see someone sitting alone with a laptop. Maybe they're reading or working. This is a perfect opportunity to start a conversation. You can start with a simple question, like, "What are you working on today?" Or, "Is that a good book?" "I've been looking for something new to read." These are great conversation starters because they focus on something the other person is doing, and it shows you're interested in what's happening in the moment. Once sat next to someone at a coffee shop who was reading a book. I decided to ask, "Hey, is that book interesting?" She looked up and smiled, and that led to a really nice conversation about books we both liked. It felt easy because we were both enjoying our coffee, and the topic of books gave us something to talk about without being too personal. What about when you're at work? Maybe you see a colleague in the break room and you want to make small talk. A great way to start is to comment on something you both experience together. Like the work environment, for example. "This coffee machine is always so slow. Don't you think?" Or, "I've noticed the office is quite quieter than usual today. Do you think it's because of the weather?" These types of comments show that you're paying attention to what's around you and can help you connect with someone over shared experiences. At my old job, I would often chat with a colleague during our lunch break one day. We both noticed that the weather was unusually warm for that time of year. I said, "It's hard to believe it's still so hot in October." She agreed, and we started talking about how unpredictable the weather had been. This simple observation made us feel like we had something in common, and the conversation naturally continued from there. Small talk like this can easily help break the ice with people you work with now. Let's think about family gatherings. These situations are a bit different because you might be talking to people you don't see often, but small talk can still be helpful. Imagine you're at a family reunion and you're talking to someone you haven't seen in years. You could ask, "How have you been since we last met?" Or, "I heard you've been traveling a lot. Where have you gone?" These questions help show that you care and want to know more about their life. "Since the last time you met, I remember attending a family gathering, and I hadn't seen my cousin Ina a long time. I asked her, 'How's everything going? What have you been up to?' She shared that she had recently moved to a new city, and we ended up talking about how different life was in that new place. This conversation gave us a chance to reconnect and catch up, and it all started with a simple open-ended question. Small talk doesn't always have to be about the big things either. Sometimes it's the little things that can help start a conversation. For instance, you could ask someone, "What did you do this weekend?" Or, "Do you have any plans for the holidays?" These questions are great because they open the door for people to talk about what they enjoy doing, and they don't require a lot of effort to answer. I remember meeting someone at a friend's barbecue, and we had just finished eating. I asked him, "What's your favorite way to spend your weekend?" He told me that he loved going to the park with his dog, and I mentioned that I liked hiking in the mountains. We had an interesting conversation about outdoor activities, and it all started with a question about weekends. It was a simple question, but it helped us find a topic we both enjoyed discussing. Another place where small talk is helpful is when you're in line at the grocery store while waiting. You can start a conversation with someone by commenting on something around you. Like, "The store seems really busy today." Or, "I see they have a new section for organic foods. Have you tried?" Anything from there. You'd be surprised, Ed, at how these little comments can open the door for a conversation People often feel more comfortable talking about things they see around them, like products or sales, than about more personal topics. It's a great way to make a quick connection with someone. I once found myself in line behind a person who was picking out fruits and vegetables. I noticed that they were buying a lot of tomatoes, and I couldn't help but ask, "Are you making a big meal tonight?" She smiled and said, "Yes, I'm making a tomato-based pasta sauce." That simple question led to a nice conversation about cooking, and we even shared some of our favorite recipes. It was easy, and it helped us both feel more comfortable in what could have been a quick, quiet moment. Small talk can also help when you're traveling. Whether you're on a bus in a taxi or at an airport, you're likely to meet new people who are in the same situation as you. You could say something like, "Is this your first time here?" Or "How long is your flight?" These types of questions are easy to answer and often lead to further conversations. Traveling is something many people have in common, so it's a great way to bond with others. When I was traveling to a different country, I struck up a conversation with the person sitting next to me on the plane. I asked, "Is this your first time flying to this city?" He told me that he was visiting family, and we started talking about places to visit in the city. It felt natural because we both had the shared experience of traveling, and that helped us connect. Even though we were strangers in all these situations, remember that the key to successful small talk is to be friendly, show interest in the other person, and keep things light. Don't worry too much about having the perfect thing to say. The goal is to practice and get more comfortable with talking to others. The more you practice, the easier it becomes, and soon you'll find yourself making connections wherever you go. Another great way to keep the conversation going is by asking questions that require more than just a's or no answer. For instance, instead of asking, "Do you like reading?" you could ask, "What kind of books do you enjoy reading?" This gives the person more space to share their thoughts and can lead to a deeper, more meaningful conversation. Once I was at a friend's house, and I started talking to someone about reading. Instead of asking, "Do you like reading?" I asked, "What was the last book you read?" That question led to a long discussion about the types of books we liked, and we ended up sharing book recommendations. It wasn't a complicated conversation, but it was an enjoyable exchange that helped us learn more about each other. Another technique that can help with small talk is mirroring the other person's energy and pace. If they are speaking slowly and thoughtfully, try to match their pace. If they seem enthusiastic and excited, you can respond with the same energy. Mirroring helps make the conversation feel more natural and comfortable. People usually feel more at ease when the conversation flows smoothly, and mirroring can help with that. At a recent work event, I was speaking with a colleague who was very excited about a new project they were working on. They were speaking quickly and with lots of enthusiasm, so I made sure to match their energy. I nodded and asked questions, showing that I was just as excited about the topic. This helped the conversation feel balanced, and we ended up discussing ideas for the project for a while. By mirroring their energy, I was able to connect with them better. It's also important to remember that even if you don't know much about a certain topic, you can still ask questions and learn. You don't need to be an expert on everything. Just showing curiosity and a willingness to listen will go a long way. If someone is talking about something you don't know much about, you could say something like that. "Sounds interesting. Could you tell me more about it?" This keeps the conversation going and shows that you're engaged. I remember once talking to someone who was an expert in photography. I didn't know much about it, but I was curious, so I asked, "What's the best camera to start with if you're new to photography?" This led to a great conversation about photography cameras and tips for beginners. Even though I wasn't an expert, I learned a lot from that conversation, and it was a wonderful way to practice English while learning something new. Let's continue to explore how making small talk can be helpful in even more situations, and dive deeper into how you can build connections and improve your English skills through these simple conversations. As we go along, think about how you could apply these examples to your everyday life. Whether you're in a new place, meeting new people, or just enjoying a casual action when you're at a park, For example, there are many opportunities to start small talk. Imagine you're walking your dog and you see someone with a dog of their own. You could say your dog looks so friendly. What breed is it? Or, I've been thinking about getting a dog. Do you have any? Advice. These kinds of questions are simple, but they help you connect with others in a natural way. People love talking about their pets, and you can bond over shared experiences. A few months ago, I was at the park with my dog, and I met another dog owner. I asked her what kind of doggy's that, and we started talking about how our dogs loved playing in the park. She shared some tips on training, and I told her about the funny things my dog had done. The conversation was light, easy, and a great way to practice both speaking and listening. Now imagine you're at the gym. Many people are there to focus on their fitness goals, but small talk can still be a great way to connect. You might notice someone using equipment next to you and say something like, "How long have you been coming to the gym? I just started." Or if you're both doing similar exercises, you could ask, "How do you like that machine? Is it good for building strength?" These types of questions can be helpful and friendly, and they can make people feel more at ease during their workout. I've had similar conversations. At the gym one day, I was using a treadmill next to another person, and I casually asked, "How do you like this treadmill?" compared to the others. That led to a conversation about different types of machines and fitness routines, and it made the whole workout feel more enjoyable. It wasn't a deep conversation, but it helped make the time pass more quickly and allowed me to meet someone new. Another scenario where small talk can be helpful is when you're at a party or a social event. These situations can sometimes feel awkward if you don't know many people, but small talk can help you feel more comfortable. You might start by saying, "How do you know the Hoster? This is such a nice place. Have you been here before?" These kinds of questions are great because they don't require a lot of personal information and help you find common ground with the people around you. I remember going to a party where I didn't know anyone very well. I approached a small group and asked, "How do you know the host?" That led to a friendly conversation where people shared how they met the host and what brought them to the party. It was a simple question, but it helped me make new connections and feel more relaxed in a new environment. Another great way to practice small talk is when you're shopping. Imagine you're at a grocery store and you see someone with a basket full of fresh vegetables. You might ask, "Are you making something healthy for dinner?" Or, "I'm always looking for new recipes. Do you have any good ones with those ingredients?" These questions are simple and easy to ask, and they can lead to conversations about food, cooking, and other everyday topics. Once I was shopping for vegetables at a market, and I noticed someone picking up a bunch of fresh tomatoes. I said, "Those tomatoes look great. Do you have a favorite recipe you use them in?" She smiled and shared her favorite tomato-based soup recipe, and we started talking about other ingredients we like to use in cooking. Even though it was a short conversation, it was a good way to practice asking questions and learning about someone else's expenses. Now let's think about how small talk can work in your daily routine. Sometimes we interact with strangers in places where we go often, like at the bus stop or in a coffee shop, for example. When you're at the bus stop, you could say, "Do you take this bus every day?" Or, "Do you know if the bus is on time today?" These simple questions are great because they help you start a conversation with someone without putting them on the spot. One day, I was waiting for a bus when I noticed a woman next to me looking at her watch. I said, "Do you know if the bus is running late today?" She looked up and said, "Think it's running a little behind from there." We started talking about how traffic was affecting the bus schedule, and it ended up being a pleasant conversation. These short exchanges are perfect for practicing small talk because they're low pressure and easy to start. Speaking of bus stops, let's also think about public transportation in general. If you're taking the subway or a train, you could ask questions like, "Do you ride this train often?" Or, "How long does it usually take to get to your stop?" People on public transport often don't mind small talk, especially when everyone is stuck in the same situation. These questions can help you practice English while connecting with people around you. I once found myself sitting next to someone on a subway and I decided to ask, Do you ride this train every day that led to a conversation about the commute and how busy the train could get during rushing hour? We both had similar experiences, and it made the ride feel shorter. It was a simple and easy way to start a conversation with someone. Another situation where small talk is useful is when you're traveling, whether it's in a taxi on a plane or in a hotel lobby. For example, you could ask the taxi driver, "How long have you been driving for this company? Or is this your first time in the city?" This shows interest in their experience and can lead to a pleasant conversation. It's also a great way to learn more about the place you're visiting on one of my trips. I asked a taxi driver how long. "Have you been driving in this city?" He told me that he'd been driving for over 10 years and shared some interesting facts about the city. We talked about popular tourist spots and hidden gems that I hadn't heard of before. It was a nice, friendly conversation, and it made me feel more connected to the place I was visiting at the hotel. You could ask the receptionist, "What's the best part of the city to visit?" Or can you recommend a good place to eat? Nearby, these questions help you connect with the people working in the area, and they often give you valuable tips and advice. It's also an opportunity to practice your English by asking simple, clear questions. When I stayed at a hotel, I asked the receptionist, "Can you recommend a good place for breakfast?" Near here, she suggested a great cafe just down the street, and we had a short conversation about the area. It was a nice way to learn more about the place while practicing my English in these everyday scenarios. Remember that the key to small talk is to keep things light, friendly, and engaging. Even though it's called small talk, it can help build connections and improve your speaking and listening skills with just a little effort and a few simple questions. You can start conversations that make you feel more comfortable and confident when speaking English. Plus, each time you engage in small talk, you get better at listening and understanding others, which makes it easier to have even longer conversations in the future. One thing to keep in mind is that small talk doesn't always need to be about asking questions. You can also make comments or observations about things around you, just like I did with the weather. For example, you might say, "It looks like it's going to rain soon," or "This place is really busy today." These comments can also start conversations and help you practice speaking in different situations. Another great way to improve your English with small talk is to focus on learning new vocabulary as you engage in conversations. You might hear new words or phrases that you can use in the future. Don't be afraid to ask people about words or expressions you don't understand. For example, if someone says, "This coffee is so strong," and you're not sure what they mean, you could ask, "What does strong coffee mean?" This helps you learn more vocabulary while also practicing your listening and speaking skills. The more you practice small talk, the easier it becomes to make friends and feel confident in your conversations. Whether you're talking to a stranger at a bus stop, a colleague at work, or someone you meet while traveling, small talk is a powerful tool for improving your English and building connections with others. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just enjoy the process and keep practicing over time. You'll find that you're not just improving your English, but also learning new things from the people you talk to. Let's continue by exploring even more ways small talk can be useful, while diving deeper into real-life situations and learning how to handle them. With confidence, small talk is not just a tool for practice, but also an essential skill that can help you build relationships, feel more comfortable in new environments, and improve your overall English communication. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. The aroma of fresh coffee fills the air, and the place is bustling with people. You might be sitting at a table, enjoying your drink, when you notice someone sitting nearby. You could start by saying, "The coffee here is really good, isn't it?" Or, "Do you come here often?" "It's my first time." A comment like this can easily lead to a conversation where you talk about different coffee, blends the atmosphere of the shop, or the kind of drinks you like. People are often happy to talk about simple everyday things like this, and it makes for a great way to practice English. I've had this kind of small talk myself a while ago. I was in a coffee shop and asked a woman sitting next to me, "Is this your first time here?" She smiled and said yes, and we started talking about our favorite coffee spots around the city. We shared some recommendations, and the conversation made me feel more connected to the place. Plus, I got to practice asking and answering questions, all while learning new vocabulary related to coffee and cafes. It was a nice way to enjoy the moment and practice my English without pressure. Now let's think about public places like grocery stores. Going shopping is another excellent time for small talk. Imagine you're in the produce section and you see someone picking out fruits or vegetables. You could ask, "Do you know what's the best way to store these apples?" Or, "I'm looking for something healthy to make for dinner. Do you have any suggestions?" Asking for advice on everyday tasks like shopping for food is a great way to start a conversation that feels natural and easy. I remember a time when I was shopping for fruits and I saw a man picking out oranges. I casually asked, "Are these oranges sweet?" I've never tried them before. He gave me a great recommendation, and we ended up talking about different fruits. We like to buy. Small talk like this can help you feel more at ease and help you improve both speaking and listening skills while also learning new vocabulary related to food and shopping. Now let's move on to talking about the weather. This might sound like a common topic, but it's a great way to break the ice with someone, especially if you don't know them very well. If you're outside waiting for a bus or sitting at a park bench, you could say, "It's such a nice day today. Do you think it'll rain later?" Or, "It's really hot today, isn't it?" Weather talk is easy, non-threatening, and often leads to longer conversations. People just generally enjoy talking about the weather because it's something everyone experiences, and it's a great way to connect. One afternoon, I was waiting for a bus when I turned to the person next to me and said, "It's such a nice day today, isn't it?" He smiled and agreed, and we started talking about how long we'd been waiting and what we were doing later in the day. It wasn't a deep conversation, but it was a pleasant one. This kind of small talk helps you practice speaking and listening, and it can lead to more conversations even if it's just a quick exchange. It also shows that you're comfortable making observations and connecting with people, which is a great way to boost your confidence. Let's take another example, this time at a bookstore. Bookstores are filled with people who love reading, so it's the perfect place for small talk. You could ask, "I'm looking for a good mystery novel. Do you have any recommendations, or have you read any good books recently?" People often love sharing their book recommendations, and it's a great way to start a conversation about something that interests you both, even if you don't know the person. Well, asking for book suggestions can make them feel like you share a common interest. I once asked someone in a bookstore for a recommendation. I said, "I'm looking for something to read. Do you have any favorite books?" The person was happy to share their recommendations, and we started talking about the types of books we like to read. It was a simple conversation, but it helped me practice asking for advice, listening carefully, and sharing my thoughts. It was also a way to bond over something we both enjoyed reading. Another example comes from the workplace small talk. At work can be just as important as it is in other situations. For instance, when you're at the office or meeting a colleague for the first time, you might say, "How was your weekend? Do you have any fun plans for the next one?" Or, "I saw while you were working on that big project last week. How's it going?" These kinds of questions help you learn more about the people you work with, and they also help create a positive, friendly atmosphere in the workplace. People enjoy talking about their weekends, hobbies, or work projects, so it's an easy way to start a conversation. I've had small talk with my colleagues many times, especially after returning from a weekend. I asked one colleague, "Did you do anything fun over the weekend?" That led to a conversation about his favorite hobbies, and we ended up talking about a project we were both working on. It was a casual and comfortable conversation, but it helped us build a stronger connection, and I also got to practice my listening skills by hearing about his experiences. It's also important to consider small talk in other social situations like community events or casual gatherings. Whether you're attending a neighborhood barbecue or a casual get-together with friends of friends, small talk helps you feel more comfortable. You might ask, "How do you know the host?" Or, "This is such a nice event. Have you been to one like this before?" These questions help you learn more about the people around you, and they can help make the atmosphere feel more relaxed and friendly. A few weeks ago, I went to a neighborhood event where I didn't know many people. I asked someone, "How do you know the host?" We ended up talking about the neighborhood and shared some stories about the area. It wasn't a long conversation, but it helped me feel more at ease and gave me a chance to practice speaking in a so. Now imagine you're in a public transportation setting like on a bus or a train. Small talk in these environments can make the time pass more quickly and help you connect with people. For example, you could ask, "Do you usually take this bus? I'm new to this route, or is this your regular train stop?" People often don't mind talking about their daily commutes, and it's a great way to ask for advice about public transport while also learning new vocabulary related to travel. One time I was on a train and asked someone, "Is this your regular train?" They smiled and said yes. I take it every day from there. We started talking about the best times to travel and how to avoid the busiest trains. It was a great way to learn more about the area and practice speaking in an everyday situation. The key to small talk is that it can happen anywhere at any time and with anyone. It's not about making a deep or complicated conversation, but rather finding ways to connect with others in an easy, approachable way. Whether it's about the weather, food, or hobby, small talk helps you practice speaking, improve your vocabulary, and feel more confident in your English skills. Each time you engage in small talk, you get better at understanding others and expressing yourself in English. Small talk might feel a bit intimidating at first, but with practice, it becomes easier and more natural. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to practice and enjoy the process of connecting with others in English. Each conversation is a step toward becoming more fluent and comfortable with the language. So the next time you're in a situation where you can make small talk, take a deep breath and give it a try. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn and how many new people you can meet. Imagine you're at the park sitting on a bench enjoying the sun. A person nearby might be walking their dog or sitting by themselves. You could start with something as simple as, "What a beautiful day it is. Do you come here often?" Or if you see them with a dog, "What's your dog's name?" People love talking about their pets, so this could easily turn into a longer conversation about dogs, parks, or even favorite activities to do outdoors. One time I was sitting in a park and saw someone walking their dog. I said, "Your dog looks so friendly. What's his name?" This small question led to a full conversation about the breed of the dog, where she had adopted him, and how they enjoy walking in the park every afternoon. It was a simple, easy conversation, but it helped me practice speaking and listening while also getting to know someone a little better. It's moments like these that show how small talk can be a great tool to connect with others, even when you're just enjoying a peaceful moment outside. Now think about a situation where you're at the gym. Maybe you see someone lifting weights or stretching. Nearby, you could start by saying, "Hey, I noticed you were using that machine. Is it good for beginners?" Or, "I'm new to this gym. How long have you been coming here?" Talking about shared experiences at the gym, like workout routines or fitness goals, is an easy way to begin a conversation. It's also a good way to build your confidence in speaking, because the topic is something everyone can relate to. I remember one time at the gym, when I was just starting out, I saw someone using a piece of equipment I wasn't familiar with. So I asked, "What's that machine called? Is it good for building strength?" The person was kind and explained how to use it properly. And from there, we talked about different workout plans and how we both stay motivated. It was a casual chat, but it gave me the opportunity to practice speaking English in a setting where everyone is usually focused on their fitness. It helped me feel more comfortable at the gym while also practicing important vocabulary related to fitness and exercise. Another setting where small talk can be useful is during travel. Whether you're on a bus, a plane, or in an airport, there are plenty of opportunities to make small talk with people around you. You could ask, "Is this your first time visiting the city?" or "How long are you staying here?" Travel conversations are often light and easy because people are usually in a good mood, excited about their trip. Plus, they might have great tips for you about Thessaly or share interesting stories about their travels. I once met a traveler on a plane who was heading to the same city. I was visiting. I asked, "Is this your first time visiting here?" The person replied that it was their first time, and we ended up sharing tips about the city, things to do, and places to eat. It was a very relaxed conversation that gave me the chance to practice my listening and speaking, while also learning useful vocabulary about travel and tourism. Let's move on to a situation. Many people experience waiting in line, whether you're waiting at a store, at a coffee shop, or even at the post office. Small talk is a great way to pass the time. You could say, "The line is so long today, isn't it?" Or, "Do you know if this store has any discounts this week?" These types of questions are simple and easy to ask, and they can quickly start a conversation with someone nearby. People often don't mind chatting while waiting, so this is a great opportunity to practice your English. A while ago, I was waiting in line at a supermarket when I noticed the person ahead of me had a lot of fruit. I casually said, "Looks like you're getting a lot of healthy food today. Are you making a big meal?" They smiled and explained they were making a fruit salad. We ended up talking about healthy recipes, and I learned a few new ideas for meals. It was a short conversation, but it was perfect for practice in small talk in a relaxed setting while learning new words related to food and cooking. Another great opportunity for small talk is when you're doing everyday chores, like at the laundromat or in a waiting room. Sometimes it's easy to feel awkward during these moments, but small talk can help break the ice. If you're at the laundromat, for example, you might say, "How long does it usually take for the washers to finish?" Or, "Do you know if this machine works well?" People in these situations are often open to casual conversations, and it's a great way to practice speaking in a natural setting. I've had several conversations at the laundromat myself. I once asked a person, "Do you know if these dryers work well? I'm new here." They happily gave me advice on which machines to use and shared some tips about the laundry service from there. We talked about how often we do laundry and the best times to visit the laundromat. It was a simple conversation, but it helped me practice both speaking and listening skills, while learning some new words about laundry. Let's now consider a situation at a restaurant. Small talk in a restaurant can be easy and enjoyable. You could start by asking the waiter, "What do you recommend from the menu?" Or, "Is this dish spicy?" "I'm not very good with spicy food." If you're at a table with other people, you could say, "This restaurant is nice. Have you been here before?" Or, "What's your favorite dish here?" These types of questions can lead to friendly conversations, and you get the chance to learn about food, restaurants, and cultural preferences. I remember a time when I was at a new restaurant and asked the waiter, "What's the most popular dish here?" He told me about a special soup, and I ordered it afterward. I asked him, "Is this soup a traditional dish here?" He was happy to tell me about the local food culture, and we talked about different foods from other countries. It was a great way to practice speaking English while learning about the local food scene. Another time, I had small talk with someone sitting at the table next to me. We started talking about the restaurant's atmosphere and the menu. The conversation led to us sharing some funny stories about our past experiences at other restaurants, and before I knew it, we had been talking for over 15 minutes. Even though it was just casual small talk, I walked away feeling more comfortable with speaking English in a social setting. It's also important to mention that small talk doesn't have to be limited to face-to-face interactions in our digital age. Small talk can also happen online, especially in social media groups or forums. If you're part of an online community, such as a group for people learning English, you could comment on someone's post by saying, "That sounds interesting. How long have you been learning English?" Or, "I love that idea. I'll have to try it out myself." These types of comments help you interact with others and build connections while practicing your English in a digital environment. I remember joining an online English learning group where people were sharing tips and advice. I asked, "What's the best way to practice speaking English at home?" A few people responded with helpful suggestions, and we ended up discussing different methods for improving our speaking skills. I learned so much from that conversation, and it made me feel more confident about continuing my English learning journey. In summary, small talk can be a powerful tool in your journey to improve your English. Whether you're at a coffee shop, gym, bookstore, or even just waiting in line, you can practice speaking and listening while learning new vocabulary and making connections. With others, small talk doesn't need to be complicated. It's simply about engaging with people in a friendly and approachable way. The more you practice, the easier it will become. Remember, every conversation, no matter how small, is an opportunity to improve your English and feel more confident in your ability to communicate. Why small talk matters in everyday life. Small talk is more than just polite conversation. It is a skill that helps us connect with others, make new friends, and feel comfortable in different social situations. When you are learning English, small talk is a great way to practice speaking without pressure. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need long or complex sentences. Just a few simple phrases can help you start a conversation and keep it going. Many people feel nervous about talking to strangers, especially in a new language. But the good news is that small talk is not about deep or difficult topics. It is about simple things. Things that everyone can relate to: the weather, the place you are in, daily activities, or even a shared experience. These are safe and easy topics that help you feel more confident. When speaking English, think about times when small talk can be useful. Imagine you are in an elevator with someone. It is a short ride, but silence can feel awkward. A simple busy day today, or this building has a nice view, can make the moment feel more comfortable. Or maybe you are waiting for a bus, and someone is standing next to you. You could say, "The bus is taking a long time today," or "Do you take this bus often?" These small moments help you practice English in real-life situations. The more you practice small talk, the easier it becomes. At first, it might feel difficult. You might not know what to say. But over time, you will start to feel more natural and relaxed. Small talk helps you get used to speaking English without stress. You do not need to worry about making mistakes. The goal is to communicate and build confidence. Now let's go into more detail about different situations where small talk can be useful and how you can start and continue a conversation in each one. Small talk at the workplace. If you work in an office or any other workplace, small talk is very important. It helps you build good relationships with your coworkers. When you see a colleague, in the morning you can say, "Good morning, how was your weekend?" This is a common way to start a friendly conversation. Let's say you are in the break room making coffee and a coworker is also there. You can say, "I really need this coffee today. How about you?" Or, "This coffee machine is slow, isn't it?" These small comments make the workplace feel friendlier. During lunch, you might be sitting next to someone. You can start a conversation by asking, "Do you usually bring lunch from home? Or have you tried that new restaurant nearby?" Talking about food is an easy way to connect with people because everyone eats. If you have a meeting with coworkers, you can make small talk before the meeting starts. You can say, "I think today's meeting will be interesting," or "It looks like we have a busy day ahead." These simple statements make interactions more natural. The key is to start with something light and friendly. If the other person responds positively, the conversation can continue. If they seem busy, that is okay too. The important thing is that you are practicing speaking and becoming more comfortable with casual conversations. In English, small talk at the grocery store. The grocery store is another great place to practice small talk. You can talk to the cashier, another shopper, or even a store employee when you are checking out. You can say to the cashier, "It's busy here today," or "I always buy too many things when I come here." These are simple ways to make the conversation feel friendly. If you see another shopper looking at a product, you can say, "That looks interesting. Have you tried it before?" Or, "I'm not sure which one to choose. Do you have a favorite brand?" People like to share their opinions, and this can lead to a short but useful conversation. You can also ask doctor employees for help instead of just saying, "Where is the bread?" You can add a little extra, "Excuse me, where can I find the bread? I'm looking for something fresh." This makes the conversation more natural. Grocery stores are full of opportunities for small talk. You can comment on prices, products, or even the weather. If it's affecting shopping, for example, "It's so cold today." Perfect for making soup. Small talk in these situations helps you feel more comfortable speaking in English in a natural way. Small talk. At a doctor's office, visiting a doctor can sometimes feel stressful, but small talk can help make the experience more comfortable. When you arrive at the clinic, you might need to check in at the front desk. You can say, "Good morning. It's my first time here. Do I need to fill out any forms?" This helps you practice speaking while also getting useful information. If you're sitting in the waiting room, you can start a conversation with someone nearby. You might say, "It looks like they're running a little late today," or "I always get nervous before a checkup. How about you?" These are light and easy ways to start talking when the nurse or doctor comes in. You can also use small talk to make yourself feel more comfortable. Simple. "How's your day going?" or "It's really cold outside today," can help you feel more relaxed before your appointment. Even though medical situations can be serious, small talk helps create a friendly and positive atmosphere. Small talk at a cafe or restaurant ordering food or coffee is another great chance to practice small talk. When you enter a cafe, you can greet the barista by saying, "Hi, how's your day going?" or "It's a nice day for a hot coffee, isn't it?" This makes the interaction feel more friendly. When you are at a restaurant, you can start small talk with the waiter by asking, "What do you recommend from the menu?" This is also a useful way to practice asking questions and getting information if you are eating alone at a cafe and someone sits nearby. You might say, "This place has really good coffee. Have you been here before?" Many people enjoy talking about food and drinks, so this is an easy way to start a conversation. Small talk in a taxi or rideshare. If you take a taxi or use a ride-sharing app like Uber, you can also practice small talk with the driver. You can start by greeting them with, "Hi, how's your day going?" Many taxi drivers like to talk, so you can ask simple questions, like, "Is it a busy day for you?" or "How long have you been driving in this city?" These questions show interest and can lead to a longer conversation. If you are visiting a new place, you can ask, "Do you have any recommendations for good places to eat?" This is a natural way to get useful tips while practicing English small talk at the library or bookstore. A library or bookstore is a quiet place, but you can still use small talk when necessary. If you see someone looking at a book, you could say, "That looks interesting. Have you read it before?" Or, "I'm looking for a good book. Do you have any recommendations?" If you are checking out books, you can ask the librarian, "Are there any events happening here this week?" This is a simple way to start a conversation while learning more about the library. Final thoughts. Small talk is a valuable skill that helps you feel more comfortable speaking English in everyday situations. By practicing in different places, at work, in a store, at a cafe, or even in a taxi, you will improve your confidence and speaking ability. The more you use small talk, the more natural it will feel. Every conversation is a chance to practice and get better. Keep trying, and soon small talk will become easy for you. Small talk in a park or outdoor area. Visiting a park or any outdoor area can provide many opportunities for small talk. Imagine you're sitting on a park bench and someone nearby is walking their dog. You can say something like, "What a beautiful dog. What breed is it?" Or, "I love this park. Do you come here often?" These simple comments help you start a conversation in a relaxed, natural setting. People in parks tend to be open to talking because they are enjoying the outdoors and the atmosphere is generally peaceful. If you're walking around and see someone sitting alone, you might say, "It's such a nice day, isn't it? Perfect weather for a walk?" Or if someone is jogging or exercising, you can ask, "Do you come here for jogging every morning? How long? Have you been running?" If you were with a friend at the park and you see someone you don't know, you can introduce yourself and say, "Hi, I'm Blake. I come to this park every weekend. It's so peaceful here. Small talk in a park setting is especially relaxed and gives you the chance to talk about nature, the weather, or even fitness. And activities. Small talk in a classroom or language exchange. If you're attending a class or a language exchange event, small talk can help you build friendships and practice English with others. Imagine you're sitting in class and the person next. 2, you looks like they're having a hard time understanding something. You could say, "Do you need help with this question?" or, "I'm not sure about this part either, but maybe we can figure it out together." These kinds of comments help you bond with your classmates and create a friendly atmosphere in a language exchange. Small talk is a great way to practice speaking casually. You can ask questions like, "How long have you been studying English?" or "What made you decide to learn English?" These are great questions because they show interest in the other person's experience, which makes the conversation flow easily in any class setting. Whether it's English or another subject, small talk can also happen before or after lessons. For example, before the lesson starts, you could say, "I'm excited to learn something new today. How about you, or did you have a good weekend? Do anything interesting?" These types of questions can break the ice and make everyone feel more comfortable. Small talk at a sports event or gym if you are at a sports event. Whether watching or playing small talkies, an excellent way to connect with other fans or participants, let's say. You're at a soccer match. You might say, "This game is so exciting. Do you think our team will win?" or "I can't believe how good that player is." These comments show your enthusiasm for the game and help start a conversation with someone nearby if you're attending a gym or fitness class. Small talk can also be helpful if you see someone lifting weights. You might say, "You're really good at that. How long have you been working out?" or "I've just started exercising. Do you have any tips for beginners?" These types of comments make the atmosphere more friendly and relaxed. You can also talk to the instructor or coach before or after a session. You might say, "That was a great workout. How often do you recommend doing this kind of exercise?" or "I've been thinking about joining this class for a while and I'm glad I finally did. Do you enjoy teaching here?" These conversations help build connections and make you feel more comfortable in a gym or sports setting. Small talk at a bus stop or train station. At a bus stop or train station, small talk is another easy way to practice English. Sometimes people feel nervous when they're waiting for transportation, especially if it's late or crowded. A simple comment can make the situation feel more comfortable. For example, you might say, "The bus is running late today, isn't it?" Or "Do you take this bus every morning?" These comments are easy to say and can lead to a short, casual conversation. If you're at a train station, you can say something like, "I'm going to the city today. Are you headed there too?" or "It's always crowded in the mornings, isn't it?" These types of comments can help you practice speaking English while also engaging in friendly conversation with others who are waiting for their trains. In these types of situations, people often appreciate small talk because it can pass the time and make waiting more enjoyable. You can also comment on the weather or traffic conditions, such as, "It's so hot today," or "I heard the traffic is terrible this morning." These are easy ways to start a conversation that anyone can participate in. Small talk in a shopping mall or shopping center. Shopping malls or shopping centers are full of opportunities for small talk, especially if you're with friends or browsing in stores. Imagine you're walking through a mall and you see someone looking at shoes. You can say, "Those shoes look really comfortable. Have you tried them on yet?" or "I'm looking for something similar. Do you know where I can find them?" These simple comments make it easier to start a conversation and can help you learn about different stores or products. If you're at a counter waiting to pay, you can talk to the cashier or other customers by saying, "It's always busy here on weekends, isn't it?" or "I've been coming to this mall for years. Do you work here?" Often these small questions can lead to a conversation and give you a chance to practice English in a relaxed setting. Sometimes you might see someone you know while shopping. You could say, "Hey, it's been a while. How have you been?" or "I didn't expect to see you here today. Are you shopping for something special?" These types of comments help you reconnect and practice English in everyday situations. Small talk. At a volunteer event or charity volunteer, events or charity activities are another place where small talk is useful. When you're helping out at an event, you can talk to other volunteers by saying, "How long have you been volunteering here?" Or, "What made you decide to get involved with this event?" These questions help build friendships and let you learn more about the people around you. If you're at a charity event and meet someone new, you can say, "It's great that we're all here to support such a good cause. How did you hear about this event?" Or, "This event seems like it's going to be really successful. How long have you been helping out?" These simple comments show that you're interested in the event and the people you're working with. Talking about shared interests, like charity work, can also help. You make connections. For example, you might say, "I love working with animals. Do you usually volunteer at animal shelters?" Or, "I think we're really making a difference today. Do you volunteer at other events?" Too small. Talk at a travel destination or airport. When traveling, small talk can be a great way to practice English and meet new people. For example, if you're at an airport, you might talk to other travelers by saying, "Is this your first time in this city?" Or, "I've never been to this airport before. Do you know which gate we need?" These comments can help you practice English while also getting useful information. If you're at a tourist destination, you can ask people about their experiences. For example, "This place is amazing. How long are you staying?" Or, "Have you been to any other famous sites?" Here, these types of questions show curiosity and can lead to a great conversation. Small talk can also help you feel more comfortable in a new place. If you're in a new city and looking for advice, you can ask locals, "What's the best restaurant around here?" Or, "I'm looking for a good park. Do you know where I can go?" These simple questions allow you to practice speaking English while exploring new places. The importance of practice. As you can see, small talk can happen everywhere: at work, in stores, at the park, in class, and while traveling. The more you practice, the more confident you will feel. Remember, small talk is not about being perfect. It's about connecting with others, learning new words and phrases, and gaining confidence in your speaking skills. By having these conversations, you will practice vocabulary, improve your listening skills, and feel more comfortable speaking in a variety of situations. Keep practicing, and soon small talk will feel easy and natural. Small talk at work, connecting with colleagues. Small talk is an important skill in the workplace because it helps you build good relationships with your colleagues. Many people feel nervous about talking to their coworkers, especially in a new job. But making small talk at work can help you feel more comfortable and make your job more enjoyable. If you are new to a company, you can start conversations with simple questions like, "How long have you been working here?" or, "What do you like most about your job?" These questions show interest and help you learn more about your workplace. If someone is making coffee or taking a break, you can ask, "Do you usually drink coffee in the morning?" or, "What's your favorite kind of tea?" These small questions can lead to longer conversations and help you bond with your coworkers when talking to a colleague. You see, often you can ask about their day. You might say, "How has your morning been so far?" Or, "Did you have a busy day today?" These types of questions show that you care about how they are doing. If you notice someone is busy, you can say, "Looks like you have a lot on your plate today," or, "That project looks interesting." Interesting. What are you working on? And no. Their good topic at work is the weekend. On a Monday, you can ask, "How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?" If it's Friday, you might say, "Do you have any plans for the weekend?" People usually enjoy talking about their free time, and this can lead to interesting conversations. If you want to be more social at work, you can also start small talk about lunch. If you see someone eating something nice, you can say, "That looks delicious." Where did you get it from? If you're going to lunch, you can ask, "Do you have a favorite place to eat around here?" Or, "I'm trying to find a good restaurant nearby." Do you have any recommendations during meetings or team discussions? You can also use small talk before the meeting starts. You might say, "This looks like an interesting meeting. Have you worked on something like this before?" Or, "I think this project is going to be exciting." What do you think? These types of conversations help create a friendly and professional work environment. Small talk with neighbors. Being friendly in your community. Making small talk with your neighbors is a great way to build good relationships and feel more comfortable in your neighborhood. If you live in an apartment building or a house with neighbors nearby, small talk can help you become friendly with them. When you see your neighbor outside, you can start with a simple greeting. Good morning, how are you today? Or hi, how's your day going? A smile and a friendly tone can make the conversation feel natural. If your neighbor has a garden, you can say, your flowers look beautiful. Do you spend a lot of time gardening? Or, I love your plants. Do you have any tips for keeping them healthy? These comments show interest and help create a friendly conversation. If you see a neighbor walking their dog, you can ask, what a cute dog. What's its name? Or, how long have you had your dog? Dog owners usually enjoy talking about their pets. And this is a great way to start a conversation. You can also make small talk about the neighborhood. If there is a new store or cafe opening, you can ask, have you been to the new cafe down the street? Or I heard a new grocery store is opening. Have you checked it out? These questions can help you and your neighbor find common interests. If you're new to the neighborhood, introducing yourself is a good way to start. Small talk. You can say, hi, I just moved in last week. It's nice to meet you, or I'm new to the area. Do you have any recommendations for good places to visit? These conversations make it easier to get to know your neighbors during the holidays. Small talk will be a nice way to connect. You can say, are you doing anything special for the holidays? Or I love your decorations. They look great. These simple comments create a friendly atmosphere and help you feel more connected to your community. Small talk. At a doctor's office or waiting room. Sometimes we find ourselves in waiting rooms, whether at a doctor's office, a bank, or any other place where we need to wait. Making small talk in these situations can make the time pass more quickly and feel less awkward. If you're at a doctor's office, you can say, it looks like it's a busy day here. Or have you been waiting long? These comments are neutral and easy to say. If the waiting room has magazines, you can say, they always have interesting magazines here. Or I always bring a book when I have to wait. Do you like reading? These types of comments can lead to a short but pleasant conversation in a bank or government office. People sometimes feel frustrated while waiting. You can lighten the mood with small talk. Like, it always takes longer than expected, doesn't it? Or at least the chairs here are comfortable. These small remarks can help make the situation feel more relaxed. If you're in a coffee shop waiting for your order, you can start a conversation with someone nearby by saying, they make really good coffee here. Have you been here before? Or I love the smell of fresh coffee in the morning. What's your favorite drink? These types of questions help you practice English in everyday situations. Small talk in a taxi or rideshare. When taking a taxi or using a rideshare service, small talk can make the ride more enjoyable. Many drivers like to chat, and a little conversation can make the trip feel shorter. A good way to start is by greeting the driver. Good morning, how's your day going? Or hi, have you had a busy day? These simple greetings make the conversation feel natural. If you're in a new city, you can ask, I'm visiting for the first time. Do you have any recommendations for good places to see? Or what's your favorite thing about this city? Drivers often have good local knowledge and enjoy sharing tips. If the traffic is bad, you might say, it looks like there's a lot of traffic today. Or is traffic always? Sometimes drivers will start the conversation first if they ask how your day is going. You can respond with, it's been good, just a little busy. Or, I'm on my way to work. How about you? These small interactions help you practice English. Naturally, small talk at a hair salon or barbershop. Going to get a haircut is another place where small talk happens. Many people feel nervous talking to their hairdresser, but it's a great way to practice casual English. You can start by saying, I'm thinking of trying a new haircut. Do you have any suggestions? Or I really like the way you styled my hair last time. These comments make the conversation flow naturally. If you want to talk about something light, you can say this place is always busy. Do you have a lot of regular customers? Or, I love the way this salon is decorated. It has a nice atmosphere. These small comments help keep the conversation going, hairdressers. Also like to ask questions, so if they ask how your day is going, you can respond with, "It's been good, just running. A few errands today," or "I've been looking forward to getting my hair done all week." These responses help keep the conversation friendly and enjoyable. Keep practicing small talk. As you can see, small talk can happen in so many places, from work and travel to waiting rooms and everyday activities. The more you practice, the easier it will become. You don't need to have long, complicated conversations. Just a simple question or comment can help you connect with others and feel more confident in speaking English.